Welcome back. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the guest of the day. I am joined by the Senator-elect for Imo West Senatorial District, Osita Izunaso, for discussion on the 10th National Assembly and how the APC zoning formula is stirring disagreement. He is returning to the Senate, having been elected senator for Imo West in 2007. Senator Izunaso was the founding national organizing secretary of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much, Jumoke. I'm glad to be here.
All right. So let's start by congratulating you on your return to the Senate. How do you feel about the victory, especially gaining the trust of your people for another term?
Well, I feel excited. I feel elected. Being elected by my people to represent them at the 10th Senate, it wasn't an easy task to win election from the part of the country where I come from. But because the people believe in me, and through the grace of Almighty God, we were able to win. So I'm happy that we won. To God be the glory.
That's right. Now, you're one of the candidates who survived the onslaught of the Labour Party in the Southeast. How did you achieve the victory?
Well, it wasn't an easy task. First of all, I must commend the people of Imo West Senatorial Zone for having the reposed confidence in me, a lot of confidence, because the Southeast had a presidential candidate in the person of Mr. Peter Obi, and that affected virtually everything that we did in the Southeast. But we moved on, we soldiered on, we fought like a wounded lion. And at the end of the day, the people believed in me by voting for me and also voting for our party to the extent of their ability. So I think we'll give all glory to God Almighty, but I can assure you that it wasn't an easy task at all.
So, as a returning senator to the National Assembly, what should your constituents in Imo West expect from you this time?
Well, a lot is being expected from me. Number one is to look at the security situation in my senatorial district, and indeed in my state as a whole. The security situation in the state is not as interesting as it used to be. So security should be my priority. Youth restiveness should also be my priority. We should find a way to address the issue of youth restiveness. And also we have to find a way to get jobs for the youth and also empower the people. So we're going to leverage on what the government of the day at the state level have done. The government have been able to provide adequate infrastructure. So we're going to build on it, attract federal presence, and combine them to be able to provide a good life for our people. And I can assure you that we're going to do our best, Jamoke.
All right, so let's move to the tussle for the principal positions in the 10th National Assembly. How will you describe the race so far?
Well, it's been very interesting. I'm sure that maybe about 5 of us are still in the race for the Senate President. And I can see that everybody is moving around, talking to the public, talking to senators. But because of my experience over the years, I know that everything will end up at the floor of the Senate. It is who the senators want to vote for that they will vote for. Because the Senate is a mini Nigeria. The senators you see are men and women of repute that knows exactly what they want. They're not the kind of persons that can be coerced into doing what they don't want to do. So I can assure you that the Senate will do exactly what Nigerians will expect them to do. And they will vote a Senate President of their choice. And I'm happy that at the end of the day, the senators might see reason why they should vote for me to lead the 10th Senate. I'm very confident that they will see reason why they should vote for me. I'm extremely confident.
All right. So, distinguished, why is this race generating so much heat? I mean, you may not see this from within, but to tell you how hot this race has become and the ripple effect it is gradually having on the polity. Like one of your colleagues, and that's Senator Baribe, alluded to the fact that even the lawmakers have not seen it this way before now, to the extent that is taken aback by the number of posters and billboards on the premises of the National Assembly. Why is it generating so much heat?
Well, you know, just like every other contest, people are bound to express their aspirations early enough. But I think one of the reasons why this particular one is generating a lot of heat is as a result of the so-called zoning that was done. Zoning was done with some names attached to it. So some people see this as highly undemocratic, and people started agitating. Is it the kind of 10th National Assembly we want to have? Are we going to have a rubber stamp National Assembly where people will no longer say what they want to say or do what they want to do? So I think the way and manner the zoning, in quote, was done is what is generating this controversy. And that is why you can see a lot of people are now agitating. Before now, it wasn't supposed to be like this. Before now, it wouldn't even know who is running and who is not running. It's only a game within the National Assembly members elect, and at the end of the day, one person will emerge. But today, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of apprehension, there's a lot of suspicion. But I can assure you that at the end of the day, Nigerians and democracy will be better for it. And nobody will be disappointed. Even the president-elect himself will also not be disappointed, because this is a democratic experiment that we're doing. And I know the president-elect. I know him very well. He has been around for the past 3 decades, doing what he knows best, which is politicking. So when people are saying that he brought this zoning, he brought the names of the persons so attached to the zone, I said, no. If you know Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu very well, he will agree with me that he won't go into that kind of thing, because he knows that this is a contest of senators elect and members of House of Representatives elect. So it is not something that they are going to microzone to individual. I'm sure he's not part of it. I can assure you that his name is being dropped here and there. And you will see what I'm telling you. By the time he's sworn in by May 29, everything will change. It will certainly change. So these are some of the reasons why you can see that the atmosphere is being overheated, because some people are parading names, parading figures. We have 74 senators who have endorsed somebody, and that group said they have 64. By the time you calculate the number of endorsements, it goes beyond 109. It's almost about 300. So do we have 300 senators in the National Assembly? But everybody's claiming this endorsement, that endorsement. So, but I believe that at the end of the day, good reasoning, wisdom will come to play, and we'll have a stable National Assembly.
So, this decision of APC to nominate candidates for the 10th National Assembly positions is, obviously generating reactions such that some aspirants have refused to drop their bids. Let me ask you, distinguished, is the party not supreme? And is it right to go against the wish of one's party?
No, the party is supreme. I'm a believer of the party. Having served the party for 5 years as its National Organizing Secretary, I know the rudiments. I know how the party works. What is being paraded right now cannot come from the party. I can assure you that. I know how the party works. I know how the party works. The NWC, after due consultations, will make a recommendation to National Caucus. National Caucus will look at it and thereafter advise NEC on the recommendations, and NEC will ratify. And once NEC ratifies, it becomes a party decision. But that is not the case in what we see today as the recommendation from the NWC. And I can assure you that if you look at that letter, I don't know whether you have read the letter carefully. If you read that letter, you will see that NWC, that is National Working Committee, are calling for further and better consultation. That is, a National Working Committee calls for further and better consultation among stakeholders, and even among the aspirants themselves. But that is what they're calling for in that letter. They went further to say that zoning arrangement as reported to NWC is as follows. So which means they are not claiming the authorship of that zoning. That was why I said that there's no zoning yet. It was just a mere recommendation. And some people have gone to town with it, saying that they have been endorsed. They have not been endorsed. Nobody is going to endorse anybody like that. You don't microzone with names. You microzone to geopolitical zones. While you begin to parry the names you have in mind, begin to consult, begin to see to what extent you can sell it. Then maybe some few days to the proclamation, you can now sell the name you have in mind seamlessly, and it goes in without any qualms. But the way it is now, people are saying, I have been endorsed. No, nobody has been endorsed. I can assure you that. It's an open ticket. It's still free for everyone to contest. The party mainly recommended is an advice, because the party said, we are still consulting for further and better consultation. Why are they saying better consultation? If the matter is concluded, why is the party saying further and better? If my semantics is not misleading me, further and better means that the consultation is ongoing. That is the meaning. And why would they come and say that the zoning arrangement as reported to NWC is as follows? As reported to NWC is as follows. So I believe that we haven't seen the last of the party decision yet. And sincerely speaking, the party will soon come up with a comprehensive zoning arrangement. When the party does that, then we'll abide by party decision, because party is supreme. But not when it is not clear whether the party have zoned or the party have not zoned. And please, I don't want people to be using the name of our incoming president anyhow. Please, that is unfair. He cannot be party to this type of thing, because I know he's not. He himself was a former senator, so he knows. Even the chairman of our party just left the Senate the other day. The secretary of our party, former senator too. So the point is that it is not possible for things like that to happen under their watch. So I can assure you that we are still waiting for the party to call us for consultation. They haven't called us yet. The party said further and better consultation with aspirants. Nobody have called me, and nobody have called any aspirants for consultation. So we're waiting for them to call us. When they call us, it's a family affair. It's a family affair. When they call us, we sit down, we will agree on who to go and who not to go. The zone to go and the zone not to go. Because there are some zones that have benefited. There are some geopolitical zones that have not benefited. We put it together and come up with something comprehensive that will make everybody happy at the end of the day.
So, Senator, many have said, I get your point, but many have said perhaps you may be shying away from the realities on ground, that indeed your party already has preferred candidates, given that this announcement was made by the party's spokesperson. Is this so?
No, the party spokesperson made the announcement. I'm not saying that he didn't make the announcement. Thereafter, the same party spokesperson went on national television to say that it was a mere recommendation. I'm not saying that the party did not make recommendation. The party it was a mere recommendation. So it didn't come from the party as it's supposed to come from the party. There are lines of communication within the party. So that is why the party said, look, this list was handed over to us, so we read it out the same way it was handed over to us as a recommendation. But we're still consulting. So the party is still consulting. And I can assure you that after the consultation, then the party can now come with a comprehensive zoning arrangement. Because when they consult people like us, then we're going to make our input. Because we haven't made any input. We haven't. I'm a stakeholder in this party. I'm running to be Senate president. So if you now say that you have consulted, who did you consult? You didn't consult us. those stakeholders who are running for the election. So are we not relevant enough to be consulted? That is why I'm saying that even the party, the way they couched the press statement released by the National Publicity Secretary shows that the party have not concluded the zoning. If the party has concluded the zoning, the statement would have been couched in a different manner. That's just the point I'm trying to make.
How do you think the APC should have handled this to avoid all of this back and forth by aspirants?
Yeah, what I think the APC ought to have done or should do when you have matters of this nature, what you do is to set up a committee. Set up a committee. The committee will advise the NWC. The NWC will take the recommendations of the committee and discuss it with critical stakeholders. President-elect, serving president, vice president-elect, Senate president, the speaker, House of Representatives, discuss with critical stakeholders. Then at the end of the day, they will now advise the National Caucus and say this is, after due consultation, this is what we think should be the zoning formula of our party. The National Caucus will look at it and further advise the NEC, because the NEC is the principal organ of the party. You now further advise the NEC, and the NEC will give a final nod, and that will be the end. Thereafter, you can come out and say, NEC have said so, because in between the National Convention, which is the supreme organ of the party, the NEC work on behalf of National Convention, in between National Convention. So whatever NEC ratifies, that is the final. So it hasn't even gone any of these levels. So that is why the NWC is saying, we are calling for further and better consultation. And I believe we still have enough time for that. We have enough time for that. And I believe that when our president-elect is sworn in, a lot of things will change. Politics is very dynamic. It is not about who started first, but it's about who ended the race better than the rest. So I believe and I'm very confident that the right thing will be done.
All right, so talking about the right thing to be done, I mean, you're here saying that the party has not zoned, or the party has not done what it should do. So what would you advise the party to do at this time?
No, what will I advise the party to do is to adopt the 1999 formula.
Which
1999 formula, when the presidency was still at the Southwest, they will adopt it with a little modification. Because in 1999, the president was at Southwest, vice president Northeast. That is as it is right now. Then they should zone the Senate president to Southeast. Then zone the speaker to North Central and the deputy Senate president to Northwest. This should be a fair balancing and a fair zoning, if I'm to advise the party. But if the party had thrown it open for proper advice, a lot of people would have reasoned well and advised the party, and the party will now consult critical stakeholders and come out with something that everybody will be proud of.
All right, so distinguished, let me also say, as you're agitating for the party to do the needful, there are some members who are insisting that the party does not go back on its position. So what if the party decides not to go back on this? What would you do?
Come again, Jimoke. I didn't get that bit of the question.
If the party decides not to go back on its position, what would you do, distinguished?
No, if the party decides not to zone, of course, we'll go to the field. And the field is the floor of the Senate. And the senators will elect. Because this is a democratic experience. It's a democratic exercise. It's not something that you can say you have appointed. Even when you appoint ministers, do they automatically become ministers? Appointment of ministers is the prerogative of Mr. President. But even when you appoint them, do they automatically become ministers? They go for confirmation. They go for screening. So Senate can decide to drop a minister that has been nominated by Mr. President. But this particular case is supposed to be elected. If you look at the Constitution, that the senators elect will elect one of them to be their Senate President and elect another one to be the Deputy Senate President. So it is not something you will say you are giving out names of those to occupy the position. What about if you give out the names of those who occupy the position and they come to the floor of the Senate and the senators refuse to elect them? Then what will happen? That is why I'm advising the party, let us do the right thing. Let us do the right thing. Because what we are saying is that we also want to deepen democracy. Nobody is going to fight the president-elect. No. That is not the issue. It's not rebellious. We're not fighting anybody. But we're talking about deepening democracy. Because how will it look like that somebody will be appointed to be a Senate president, appointed to be Speaker of the House of Representatives? It is something that you know that they will be elected. They'll be elected. And some people have made it even look worse. Some people will come and say, I saw Mr. President-elect, he told me to support so and so person. Is that how to communicate after you have met with the President-elect? So even if he tells you that, are you supposed to come to the public and start saying what he told you? So what it means is that you don't believe in that thing. If you believe in it, you don't need to mention his name. You will say, I'm hereby supporting so and so person. So in all of this, please, people should stop parading the name of Mr. President-elect. No, people should stop it.
All right.
Because I know he's not involved. He's not involved. I can assure you that he's not involved. He is a very senior politician. He's been around for a long time. He knows it all. He knows what to do at the appropriate time.
All right, distinguished, let's take a breather. I've been speaking with Senator-elect for Imo West Senatorial District, Senator Osita Izunaso, for discussion on the 10th National Assembly and how the APC zoning formula is stirring disagreement. We will be right back after this break. Mr. West.